Hello there, welcome back. Hello if you're new. Today I get to play, or the other day, I get to play Operation Firestorm and Marac Valley. So a big thank you to EA and Battlefield for letting me play. It's honestly a dream come true to be able to be in events like this, be a part of this, and so thank you to EA and Battlefield. I'll forgive you for rejecting my creator code. However, you there who's watching this screen can support me by liking and subscribing if you enjoyed. Now I'm going to show gameplay of Marac Valley and Firestorm. This build features a lot more weaponry and gadgets, etc. So I'll try and show off as much as I can, and a video coming out in a few days will showcase all of it. Obviously I only had a certain amount of time during this build, so I didn't get to play all of it here. But we got to play Operation Firestorm and Marac Valley on Conquest, Breakthrough, and a new mode, Escalation. So I'll cover my thoughts and opinions on everything so far. So what a lot of people want to hear and know about is the gunplay. It's much different from the beta. It has more emphasis on burst firing and tap firing. You can really feel this with the assault rifles. However, it's created a weird dynamic where just SMGs are better. What I'm trying to say here is assault rifles were more difficult at range, so it was easier to use them in CQC, where SMGs didn't have that recoil increase, so it made it much more viable and easier to use it at range. So I don't know, the roles should be switched around, honestly. The recoil SMGs should be more powerful in CQC and should have more bloom or bullet deviation at range, where assault rifles should be a bit more effective at range. But then again, it could just be the way I play or how I have attachments. DMRs have seen a buff as well. As I mentioned previously, DMRs would be a 3-hit body hit or a 3-hit headshot at reasonable ranges. Now the headshot multiplier has been increased, so headshots are more rewarding now, and DMRs in general are just more viable. Although I didn't really see anyone using them. I think seemed like I was the only one using them. But a lot of guns to choose from, including a revolver. Yes, you can put an ACOG on it. Yes, it's very cool. When it came to the vehicles, they did feel weak. Especially helicopters did feel very weak, because it felt like you could just be one hit, or there'd be guided projectiles, which didn't give you really much warning unless you visually saw it, so it could be chasing you down and you're completely unaware. As for jets, I didn't get to play those, so unlucky. Tanks and the Bradleys, quad bikes, transport jeeps all felt pretty good. Not much to say on there. I think they're in a good place of being powerful and weak at the same time, because if you hit the rear, it deals a lot of damage. So then again, some of the gadgets do feel kind of weak unless you're hitting the rear with the RPG. Some of the gadgets did feel a bit weak. Nothing introduced in this build felt overpowered. It mostly felt very weak. The thermite shotgun I didn't get much chance with, but it didn't feel very powerful. It may be useful on more closed off maps and buildings, but because these two maps are open, which I know a lot of people wanted to play during the beta, so their effectiveness was kind of not great. But then again, it could have just been the maps, so you just have to wait and see. Mortars are back, unfortunately. Okay, what I'm about to say might sound a bit crazy, but mortars have unlimited mortars. The good news is I got bored before I got a kill, so they don't seem very powerful. So I think that's quite good. At the same time, it sounds awful, but I didn't get a kill with it. I didn't see many people, if any, get a kill with it, so okay, now for the modes. We played Conquest and Breakthrough, and a brand new mode, Escalation. I think Conquest played perfectly fine on both maps. I didn't get much time on Breakthrough on Marac Valley, and when I did, it was mostly against bots, a little bit of server mishap. I didn't really get much time, so it's hard to judge it. And then the brand new Escalation mode. My honest thoughts are it's okay. It's okay. Like, if you think this is gonna be like the next big mode, I really don't think so. I think it will be a very forgotten mode without being too harsh. It's conquest that gets smaller over time, and then you get more vehicles as it gets smaller. So it's just conquest that gets smaller. Wasn't always clear like how you're winning, if you're winning kind of deal. Because I understand you gotta capture up first to however many flag captures, and then it removes one and repeats. But it wasn't always clear like when and how you're winning. Honestly, I don't have big hopes for this mode. I think majority of people will continue with Conquest and Breakthrough. Not to say that it doesn't have potential, but I just don't see it. Now for the maps. Marac Valley and Firestorm. We'll begin with Marac Valley. It's been showcased and branded as the largest map at launch, with massive like war-torn landscape, but it felt very underwhelming if you was expecting a sort of Sinai Panzer Storm vehicle sort of map, because the central part and the main part where fighting will happen is the center with 2 construction buildings. On the ground floor it has the first floor and second floor, and then of course you can go onto the roof. Most of the fighting will happen around and within the construction. You do have some objectives around it across open field with a few buildings here and there. There's a really nice like destructive war-torn area, but it just went underutilized in my opinion. Like, I didn't really spend much time there, and it was more just their spawn point, but it seemed like a really interesting part of the map. There is plenty of cover, even though I did say there is like open field parts. There is plenty of cover. It is a good map overall. I did enjoy it. It's just a bit underwhelming when it claims to be the largest at launch. So, and because it was more open, destruction came in less and less. Like, destruction didn't really make an impact too much. Like, there was some scaffolding that was stairs that led nowhere. That was just kind of annoying. The ladder would have came in helpful there though. But overall, it is a good map. It's got plenty of vehicles for you to enjoy. Plenty, but not too many sniping advantage points. But then again, as I said with the helicopters, there's not much cover for you within the helicopter, unless you use the 2 big like construction buildings or fly incredibly low, so the terrain can give you some kind of cover. But then again, helicopters are kind of weak, mixed with not much cover. Doesn't really help it out too much. It is a surprisingly good map for having like CQC elements still within the map. It is incredibly CQC and fast-paced engagement still, if you play within the construction site, the center of the map. So 90% of the players are within that area anyway, so it kind of does fill out your way to go to the other objectives around it. Sounds like I'm being overly negative about it. I did enjoy the map. It certainly did make a big difference compared to just constant CQC of the beta, so good map overall. Now for Operation Firestorm, a fan favourite from Battlefield 3, remade in Battlefield 4, and now it's back again. Typically I do not like remakes of a remakes, remakes anyway, let alone remake of a remake, but it has enough change in it for it to feel fresh, yet still familiar, which is a good thing. Visually, much better, much more cover, feels a bit more war-torn, plenty of destruction of those concrete buildings. The combat was kind of tight, but left open areas for you to engage at range. It felt more tightened, like everything was a bit more squished together, so it doesn't feel as far away, like the spawn points around the mountain or whatever it was. They're just a lot more closer together. With all the gadgets and all the guns introduced into this build, you can really see the bigger picture and kind of see what it's gonna be and become. And there was a lot more customization as well, especially with grips and whatnot. So if you felt a bit underwhelmed by the customization in the beta, there's much more here now. You can actually make your gun a bit more how you want it to be. Customization on vehicles was pretty cool. You could stick a sticker on it, or various camouflages, or dedicated skins, which could add like barbed wire, paint, spray painted and whatnot, and extra little additions to the tank. We also saw the introduction of the sledgehammer. I thought, honestly, it was going to be a dedicated gadget for the assault. It is not. It is available for everyone. It just classes a melee weapon. It takes twice as long as a knife and only deals 10 more damage, but you get the ability to knock down walls, etc. And of course, sledgehammer people. Oh yeah, as for bugs, I didn't really experience too many. Still had the like Mario jump bounciness in some places, which I have been told it will get fixed. And I did experience this weird thing, which I had to quit to the menu to get rid of. I was reaching Interstellar, but that was a one-off, I think. So, overall, pretty polished. I only experienced those bugs that I just mentioned, so it seems like a very polished experience, as of saying. In this build, there was no character customization, or no weapon customization, like camouflages, I mean. Not attachments-wise, there's plenty of that. But no sort of camouflage customization, skins for guns, etc. There was only skins for vehicles, camouflage for vehicles as well, special skins, etc. So hard to say what it's going to be like on launch, or how it's going to go down in the future. Now I will say that I don't know if it was because of my performance wise, like it ran perfectly fine providing I lowered the settings and used DLSS to get it like a decent frame rate, but it did feel rather sluggish. Like it felt like input delay, and it did feel like whatever inputs I was doing did feel a bit in the past. I don't know if it's related to performance or whatnot, so it's hard to say for sure if it's a game issue or a performance issue, but I'm just putting that out there. I will say the defib hasn't been nerfed. You can still run at full speed with it. I do believe it does less damage now, because I was doing 60 damage. Again, I didn't really get enough time to use it fully to the capacity I used it during the beta, but it does, I do believe it does less damage now. But everything else about it has remained the same. Just a little end note to end on. I think Battlefield 6 is shaping up to be a very good game. The biggest issue is the open class system still. I know it's gonna have playlists where it's closed and playlists where it's open, but that is the biggest issue, because the way I see it, engineer is the best class. You can take out vehicles, you can be a sniper, you can do whatever you want, but you also have the ability of having an RPG, anti-air missiles, etc. And then when it comes to more infantry focused maps, support is the way to go with the ammo and meds. I really don't see the point on using assault or recon. There's no weapons locked behind them to make me want to go over and use recon. Same with the gadgets. The gadgets just aren't enough to make me want to use recon nor assault. So engineer and support is just the only two roles I'd play with the open weapon system. It'd be a very different story if the weapons were closed. That's the biggest issue, I believe, but it is a very fun game. I can't wait for release. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe, blah 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 blah. Let me know your comments below, and until next time, see ya.